I think Courtney Barnett's next album is going to be exclusively high auto-tuned vocals, sort of Sophie-esque metallic production, but all still in a very Australian accent.
Oh, you've brought my coffee percolator.
Welcome to Fantasy Fantano, the fantasy football league for music nerds. The game is we pick 11 artists that we think are going to release albums in 2021. If you want to play, we're still accepting submissions. We'd love for you to join the league. A link to a video explaining the rules is in the description below.
If one of the artists on your team releases an album which gets an 89 on Metacritic and a strong 9 from Fantano, they'll earn you a sweet 98 points.
And today we're going to be going through me and Flora's picks. First of all, Flora, how confident do you feel about your squad?
100%. I think every single one of these is going to release an album this year, and I think they're all going to be get me at least 90 points. I'm
Really?
100% confident in that. Yeah. My team is solid. My team is like 1999 Manchester United solid, or like early noughties AC Milan. It's flawless.
For me, I think we're talking Sheffield United present day. You have 50 melons to pick your squad, and that depends on how popular they are. The more expensive if they're more popular, and how likely they are to release a record. The more likely they are, the more expensive they are. And we're going to go through our picks from least expensive pick to most expensive pick. So Flora, who is your least expensive pick?
You're a good friend of mine, Richard Dawson.
That's also my first pick.
Yay! I thought it might be. Now, Richard Dawson's an artist we both love a lot. 2020 was maybe my favourite album of 2019. Peasant was definitely my favourite album of 2017. And yeah, in case you haven't noticed, he works on kind of 2-year cycles. He's quite prolific. However, there isn't really a rumour going on. He hasn't confirmed anything.
He's a sweet spot because he is not super popular, so he's cheap, but he's also critically fucking adored, and crucially adored by Fantano.
I'm feeling a light to decent 9.
Okay, so that was my number 1 and your number 1, so I'll move on to my number 2, which is a bit more obscure. Again, not an artist with an album confirmed, although there is a rumours. They're in the rumour mill. And again, not a particularly popular artist, also from the British Isles. It is Girl Band. You remember Girl Band?
Oh, I'm a girl band fan.
Their daughter Paul.
I think that's a bad choice.
Why do you think that's a bad choice?
I don't think they'll release a record.
Interesting. Why?
Because they released one relatively recently.
Yes.
And they tend to leave really massive gaps between their releases.
I don't know if that's necessarily going to be a consistent truth, though. I feel like a lot of bands who are like starting that early often need to, get money to record a second album. It can take a while. If it does come out, this is going to be a riot success. They were on the pulse of 2020 and 2021 back in 2015. In other words, they were making weird, slightly dark post-punk that was actually good. We'll get onto that later. Way before the current wave of very similar bands. So I think if Girl Band drop an album this year, it's going to be like their most critically regarded one yet. That's my theory.
Fantano does not like Girl Band.
Does he not like them? Full stop.
He actively dislikes them.
I still don't think the band has that interesting of a sound.
Who is your number 2 pick?
My number 2 pick, which is in a similar musical vein, similar sort of really hypey post-punk bands, but much newer. It's Squid.
That's my number 3 pick.
Squid, I'm feeling relatively confident about. I think there's been rumours about them releasing an album for quite a while, and they've kept looking like they're about to with I think they're on Warp now, aren't they?
Yes, they're on Warp Records. And they put out a couple of songs, but they're not officially singles for the new album, so they don't count.
Critics love them. The British critics love them. And crucially, again, a British band that Fantano likes. My number 3 is a group that you and I really like, although you were much colder on their last record than I was. It's Kiro Benito.
Oh, KKB. Yeah, good choice.
KKB, their last record, I believe, was in 2018, I think.
Yeah, Time and Place, yes.
Yeah. They have since released an EP, 2019, I think.
Which was fucking fantastic, by the way.
Really good. And
Brilliant EP.
they put out a song for a video game last year.
It's Bugsnax.
We've not had a full-length project from them since 2018. I think it feels like it's about time. Again, they've had a load of time during the pandemic, so I would be surprised if they hadn't spent a lot of it recording.
My number 4 is, now we talk about artists Fantano likes. This is me going in hard on that angle. And the chances of a new album are, I don't think that strong, but there have been rumours. So, again, fingers crossed. But the band is one of the few bands that Fantano has given a score of 10 to. It is the band Daughters. Again, not a Daughters fan, not my type of music at all. Too loud, too noisy. An incredibly quickly regarded band on a huge new kind of upswing of fans. It wouldn't surprise me if they'd spent the past year working away a new album, being like, okay, we've got this massive new momentum, we should capitalize on it. Of all the picks, they're the ones I'm least sure are going to release an album, and most sure it will get a stupidly high score if they do. So.
My 4th pick, on a similar theme, it's another group, rare group that Anthony Fantano has given a 10 to. To my knowledge, it was the first group he gave a 10 to. It is Death Grips. Death Grips, they're pretty prolific. They tend to release a project every 2 years. And again, the critics, and particularly Fantano, licks their bottomless pits.
My number 5 is an act who is a little more likely to release an album. She's been talking about it. It's the artist Kimbra, the New Zealand pop star who you may remember was featured on the song Somebody That I Used to Know by Goche. People love New Zealand at the moment. You've got Lorde, you've got Benet, the new act. People love specifically female pop stars from New Zealand. They're in vogue, man.
I don't think I agree with you. I don't think these people are getting famous because they're from New Zealand. I don't think A&R people are out there going, right, fucking hell, we've got to get... I don't care who it is, as long as they're from New Zealand. Get some New Zealanders in here.
Peter Jackson's launching his music career.
Ooh, why did you all hate the Hobbit? Ooh, it was my baby and you killed it.
This one, I'm relatively confident about, but not super confident about. It's 100 Gex.
Ooh, interesting.
They obviously released a remix album last year, but I did see a snippet of an interview with Laura Lex, and in the interview she said she was working on songs, which makes me think that over lockdown they've been working on a record. Also, I just think, don't they strike you as a group that produce music quite quickly? Like, I wouldn't be surprised that we get a 100 Gex release every year or every 2 years from now on.
My next artist, a gimme. Probability of an album coming out next year, pretty high. She's basically said she is working on one, although she hasn't given any details about it, but has been for a while, throughout all of last year. And this artist dropped what is probably the most critically regarded album of 2019. It's Wise Blood. That Titanic Rising album got rapturous reviews, despite being, objectively, incredibly boring.
Do you know what's daft is I actually saw that when I was doing my research for this, and I just glanced over it, and I'm reflecting on why I glanced over it, because it's a great pick, and I think because I was so bored by it that when I listened to it, I couldn't even be bothered to look at it again.
Yeah, it's fucking fair.
Yeah, it's a great pick. I think that'll pay dividends, that one. This next one, this is maybe the one I'm the least confident about on my list. But frankly, I was running out of ideas by the end of my picks. It's Father John Misty. The reason I'm not confident is because part of me thinks that he might never put a record out again. I don't really know why I think that, but it just feels right. Do you know what I mean? Having said that, though, the gap seems right. Like, if you look at his usual release cycles, it seems about right. He's not really been doing, even before the pandemic, I don't think he was touring. Like, it seems like he must have been working on shit, unless, as I say, he has entirely dropped out of public life, which wouldn't surprise me. But if he does release a record, obviously the critics will like it. So yeah, we'll see about that one.
I feel like his time in the critical limelight might be over, you know. I feel like he's a 2010s artist.
I don't think I agree. I don't think he's ever going to do an Arcade Fire. Like, I don't think he's suddenly going to become proper shit. You know what I mean?
Okay, my next pick. This is an artist who I'm not certain that she'll drop an album this year, but again, it's been the right amount of time. You do have to ask, what else could she have been doing if not working on a new album? And I also feel like, as as genuinely good and respected an artist as she is, I don't imagine her songs take that long to write. I imagine they're quite impulsive. They're quite quick. It is Courtney Barnett. Well, I think she probably needs to do something a bit different for her new album in order for anyone to give a shit, because I think she's been sort of riding the Courtney Barnett style for too long now. I kind of think she will as well. I kind of think third album's where she's going to start switching things up. I think she's going to go hype pop. I think Courtney Barnett's next album is going to be exclusively high auto-tuned vocals, sort of Sophie-esque metallic production, but all still in a very Australian accent.
Oh, you've broken my coffee percolator.
I hate to shatter your dreams, but I read this article which spoke about her new record, which is part of why I didn't put it on my list. And basically, she said she's been penning quiet folk songs.
Your number 7, please.
It's Sanford.
Ah, nice pick. I like Sanford.
Sanford, great guy, good friend of mine. He's not. We've never met. His last record was critically adored by the Melon Man, by the British music press, by the international music press, and
by the Vanity Project.
And won the Mercury.
It did.
And he has not done anything for a little while now. So I think, he's due one, right? He must be due one. That's what I'm thinking.
The thing is, he is a very frequent collaborator and songwriter. He very often turns up with a songwriting credit on pop albums and stuff. His album came like several years after he'd like burst onto the music scene as like a hot new collaborator. So I think there's a chance that, he just hasn't had time. My next artist is an artist who is definitely bringing out an album because it has a release date, which makes it quite expensive. But on the other hand, he's not an artist with many monthly listeners. But I did check, his album did get a good score on Metacritic. And while Fantano didn't review it, I think enough other YouTube critics did review it, like Deep Cuts, who I know Fantano watches, who loved this album, that I think he might check out the next one. And it is William Doyle. Phenomenal artist, by the way. His last album, Your Wilderness Revisited, if you haven't visited it, make sure to. It's fantastic. It was fellow YouTube critic Deep Cuts Album of the Year. We saw him live, one of the very few gigs we went to in 2020. His new album is confirmed for this year. It's already got a single out. It's really good.
I have to say, and I'm sure the record will be good, I did not like the lead single.
Did you not?
No.
I really did. I think it's great.
My number 8, you love him, I love him, we all love him. It's Tyler, the Creator.
Yeah! We do love him.
Tyler, the Creator, quite expensive because he has loads of listeners on Spotify, but quite cheap on the likelihood side of things because there is no official rumour of an album. However, he has consistently released an album every 2 years since year dot, really.
He also, crucially, he never hints to his albums till about a week before they come out anyway. So it's not unusual to have not heard anything from him. So, yeah, nothing more to add than that. Obviously, a good pick. I'm looking forward to whatever he drops next because Flower Boy and Igor are two of the best albums of the past few years. So. We shall see. In contrast, a terrible artist who has only ever dropped terrible music, excruciatingly boring, is the artist FKA Twigs. All of her releases, for some reason, get amazing critical acclaim. I don't understand it. Now, she has confirmed she's working on new music already, even though there's quite a large gap between LP1 and Magdalene, her 2 albums so far. She has confirmed she's been working on her new album.
It's a great pick. I thought about it. The reason I didn't pick it is simple. I couldn't afford it. It's as simple as that. Speaking of couldn't afford it, here's one that knocks out quite a lot of melons for me, but I'm confident it will be a high scorer. Because I think to have a well-balanced squad, you should have some risks, but you should also have some bankers. And this, to me, is a pretty high banker. You hate them. I am on the fence about them. It's Black Country New Road.
Yeah, this is my number 10 pick.
They're expensive. They don't have many monthly listeners, but they do have a confirmed album coming out relatively soon, I think.
I don't like the music at all. I find, in general, the post-punk revival to be so tedious. I'm a big fan of like the proper post-punk bands, Perubu, This Heat, Wire. If Black Country New Road were around back then, they'd have been eaten alive. They are batting so far under. And also doing nothing with the genre. It's just it's just a pure facsimile of what came before. HMLTD are post-punk, but they take modern influences, they transform it into something different. They're really interesting, but they're very critically regarded, so they're on my squad.
I don't agree with you about Black Midi. I really like Black Midi. So just to put an opposite opinion out there, I really like Black Midi. Black Country New Road, I am really on the fence about, because I really, really like the song Sunglasses a lot. I do not like the song Athens, France, and that's the only 2 songs they have out. I saw them live, and so I've seen a lot of their songs, which are not out. Let's just say I wasn't convinced.
The critics are obsessed with the idea of a British post-punk revival, and so will give good reviews to any album of that genre that comes out this year. Which is why Rob and I, in case you don't know, the Vanity Project, we completely U-turned on a musical style, and we now just cover television. Like, the new album is just a recreation of Marquee Moon from start to finish. We're expecting the Mercury Prize.
We're a mash-up band of the Fall and television, and we're called Marquee Moon.
That's not bad. I was going to say you can cut all of this, and now you can't because that joke's too good.
My 10, he's expensive, but I think he'll pay the bills, is Kendrick Lamar.
He's my number 11.
I really like Good Kid, Mad City and To Pimp a Butterfly. I didn't like Damn very much at all.
Yeah, Damn was divisive.
I've genuinely listened to Damn twice.
I fucking hate Humble. Humble's one of my least favourite songs from the last decade, easily. I think it's shitting terrible. I think he sounds awful on it, and the beat is so annoying. But in general,
if you want to hear a song that sounds exactly like Humble but is way better, listen to Rain by H, because it is basically the same song. But
honestly, what I will say is Anthony Fantano's going off him. He's definitely going off him. He didn't like Damn and then revisited Damn later and was like, yeah, I like it even less now. So I could see there being a big Fantano reversal. I could see the newer Kendrick album getting a really middling review from him.
Let's see.
But we'll see.
The other possibility is it doesn't drop it at all. It's not. I think it's likely, but it's not nailed on at all.
He was meant to drop in 2020. This is the context. He said he was going to release it in 2020, and then late on in the year said, "Sorry, I didn't feel like it was the right time." I think because of BLM stuff, actually. So the album allegedly is in a sort of state of near completion. So the likelihood of it dropping seems decent, but again, we don't know anything about it. We don't know its name or any cover or any songs. There's been no songs from it. So we'll see. Round it out then. Who is your number 11?
My number 11 is another expensive one, but again, I think she will do me good. It's Rosalia.
Yeah, I think it's a very safe pick, very good pick. Again, it was kind of a toss-up between Rosalia and Kendrick for me. They were both about the same amount of melons. Can't say I'm the world's biggest Rosalia fan. Never really grabbed me, a lot of the music, but I don't mind it. But she's got a fantastic voice.
I think she's great. I think she's great. She's got 2 records. Her first one is just a flamenco record, right?
Yes.
And I've tried listening to it. I don't like flamenco. Sorry, not my thing. But a second one is kind of like, I guess, flamenco modern pop crossover, which is way more, I'm more into modern pop than flamenco, so it's way more up my street. And I think it's fucking great. I think the singles she dropped since then are great as well. And I saw her at Glastonbury and she was fucking mind-blowing.
Yes, I remember you saying she was very good at Glastonbury.
There's our squad. I'm actually feeling a bit more confident about my squad now we've had this chat, because I thought you'd have a load of aces up your sleeve I hadn't thought of. But actually, I feel like we we're on a fairly level pegging. I feel like either of us could do all right. But let us know what you think of our picks and fucking join in, man. Links in the description to join. Please join the league. See you in like 2 months for an update, maybe?
Yeah, 2 months, we'll say.
Yeah, about 2 months.
Transition.